Fortunate is he who remembers Allah abundantly. Worldly distractions cannot mildly sway his thoughts of Allah and Judgment Day. Righteous is he who bows to one he cannot see, whose deeds do not spring without Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa-salamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program, The Excellence of Manners. I'm your host, Muhammad Mamdouh, and we are talking about manners that we as Muslims are supposed to have and that we have been taught by the Prophet ﷺ. These manners are there to help us deal with all situations in life, and we've established the basis of good manners and things like telling the truth and being kind and being gentle and being patient, and all these are good foundations to have. And we add on to these foundations, controlling what you say, what you say when you speak, and so on and so forth. We've come now to the etiquettes of eating and drinking, and we're doing this on 2 episodes. So if you've followed the first episode of this topic, we began by saying that it's important to understand that seeking provisions, your food and drink, from a halal source is more important than actual etiquettes, because if your food is coming in from a haram source, then it doesn't really make sense to focus on eating properly because your source is from a haram place. So this is, in a logical sequence, the place of your source of provision needs to be halal. And then you look at the etiquettes of how to do things as the Prophet ﷺ taught us, such as saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim when you begin eating. You eat with your right hand, you eat whatever is closest to you, and that we say Alhamdulillah at the end of our food, and we thank Allah for the food and the provisions and everything that He's given us, and the benefits of saying these, and it gives us barakah, and may Allah bless us with what He has given us. I'm joined, of course, with Sheikh Saeed El-Gadi from London, who has been going through these and teaching us the etiquettes of eating and drinking. Sheikh Saeed, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Muhammad. Hayyak Allah.
Allah
bless you.
Jazakumullah khair. We, of course, started with the etiquettes, and we, as I just said, what we do at the beginning and the end. And now we're just going to go through all kinds of situations that we need to learn, that we're going to be in order for us to deal with. The first one, I would say, is when you are invited to food, not necessarily at someone's house, but if you are fasting on a day that is not during Ramadan, like a voluntary fast, and somebody offers you food, what is the recommended etiquette here?
Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. All praise due to Allah alone. We praise Him, we thank Him, we seek His guidance and His forgiveness. We repent to Him, we seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our souls and our sinful deeds. Whoever Allah guides, none can mislead, and whoever Allah misleads, none can guide. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. If you are invited for a food, then you should answer the invitation, especially if that invitation is for a marriage food. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, Allahumma Muhammad, إذا دعي أحدكم إلى طعام فليجب. If one of you is invited for a food, then let him answer the invitation. Then he said, if you are fasting, then فليصلي, mean let him supplicate for the host, make dua for him. If you don't want to break your fast, although you have the choice to break your fast, if that fasting is voluntary fasting, you can break your fast. But if you chose not to, you can make supplication for the person or for the host, make dua for him. This is the sunnah. Otherwise, if you're not fasting, you should eat with him.
So the rule here is to accept an invitation when you're invited.
Yeah, especially if it is for a marriage invitation.
Especially for a marriage
walima, we call it walima, after marriage.
Yes. And when you're fasting, you have an option either to
break. If
break
it's voluntary fasting, you should break it and eat, and then you can make afterwards next time.
What if you are invited, for example, to someone's house and your friend is with you that day, and the host has only invited you? Can you bring along someone without telling the host?
Well, it's not from the etiquettes of going to your brother or visiting your brothers. If somebody followed you and you're going to someone else's house, you should inform the host. Or in case if you couldn't inform him, then at least once you arrive at his door, you should say to him that this man followed me or this man is with me. Will you allow him or not? And we have the sunnah, and Nabi sallallahu on one occasion, he was invited for food. And one of the Sahaba followed him. He went with him. And he says sallallahu to the host, once they arrived at the door, he said to him that this man followed us. If you want, you can allow him. If you don't want, we can ask him to return back. The Sahaba said, Rasulullah, no, allow him, he can come in. The sunnah is to do that, to inform the host and let him know about you, the one who's accompanying you.
SubhanAllah. I know some of these questions are just basically, they're just consideration. I mean, it's always good to consider someone's situation, but it's also good to establish them as part of the sunnah, because you also get reward when you do something with Prophet ﷺ. Even when it's just some simple consideration, you pick up the phone and you ask someone, let them know. And when you're invited to someone's house, or not necessarily someone's house, and they put down a plate of something, food that you might not like. What should you do in a situation like this?
Well, if you don't like a food, just leave it. Don't eat from it. Okay? But don't find the fault in a food. Don't say this food is too much salt in it. This food it's bad. It's not good. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never found fault with food. ما عاب طعاما قط. If he likes it, he will eat it. If he doesn't, he will just leave it.
So you never negatively criticize, and that should be our etiquette.
Yeah. Because he might don't like it, and others like it.
Yeah.
Other people like it. So if you like it, eat. If you don't, just leave it.
Jazakumullah khair. What should we do when we're eating with a group of people? Are there certain etiquettes that are supposed to be practiced when we are with a group of people?
Yeah, they are. The main thing, if you are with a group of people, the main thing, if there is something that is served around, make sure that you don't take two things at a time. For example, if there is a tray of dates or a tray of fruits and it's circled around, make sure you don't take two dates at a time. Take one at a time. Unless if you take permission from them. Take one at a time or take one fruit at a time. This is the sunnah. Nabi Sallallahu said, don't eat two things at a time if you are in a gathering, unless if you take permission from everyone. So it shows some as well consideration to people.
Really, and because also if everyone is taking one and you take two, this might it's not fair, and it might cause your brother to feel something that it's not necessary. Yeah, it's not necessary situation. All you have to do is just ask, and it won't be a problem. I wanted to mention something. Perhaps you can enlighten us on this. People have different manners in different cultures. If this is their culture to, for example, go from like an older person to a younger person, or to whatever culture they have with different foods and stuff like that, is it also good to adhere to the different culture? Is it part of when you go to
if the culture doesn't contradict with the sunnah, then it's okay. You can go with the culture. But if the culture contradict with the sunnah, then you should stick to the sunnah.
Jazakumullah khair. The issue of food here that we're talking about is because everyone, of course, eats and needs to eat. So it's this daily ritual that we have, and some people put a lot of emphasis in it, and some people don't. And it's just it's something that everyone can relate to.
That's right.
Why is this such an important issue, and what is the barakah that is associated, or the blessing associated with food? What is associated with food?
How can we gain barakah?
Yeah.
Okay. To gain barakah in the food, first of all, if you are in a gathering, make sure you eat together. if there are many people around you, or you are or in a company of people, eat together to have more barakah, to have more blessing in your food. And Nabi Sallallahu in one occasion, some of the companions came to him and said to him, Ya Rasulullah, we eat but we don't feel satisfied. نأكل ولا نشبع. We always eat but we never feel satisfied. He Sallallahu said, perhaps you eat separately. This is Ya Rasulullah, yes, we eat separately. He said, then eat together and begin with the name of Allah. If you want barakah, begin with the name of Allah and eat together. Don't eat separately. It's the first method to bring blessing.
So you should find every opportunity to invite people to eat with you.
To invite people to eat with you. Or if you are together, don't eat separately. Eat
together. In the same.
Secondly, don't eat from the middle of the vessel. Eat from the sides. Eat from the sides. In the hadith, and the sound hadith Sahih Bukhari, that the barakah is will be descended upon the middle of the food. The barakah descends upon the middle of the food. So eat from the sides so that you can have more food. Eat from the sides of the vessel. Don't eat from the middle.
So if there's a plate, basically you eat from whatever is closer to you, and then you eat the sides until you get to the center.
The last thing should be the middle of the. And also, if a morsel falls from you, make sure you take it and you clean it up and eat it. Don't leave it. Because we have in the hadith as well, in the sound hadith, that if a morsel falls from you, take it, pick it up, clean it, and eat it, because you don't know where is the barakah, where is the blessing. It might be in that morsel. Also, once you finish, if you want also barakah and blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make sure that you lick your finger. You either lick your finger or have it licked. Probably by your wife. So lick your finger, because also in the hadith and sound hadith, you don't know what is the barakah. Lick your finger once you finish the food. Don't wash your hand before you lick your finger.
So these are all the
methods to bring barakah
when you're doing a simple something like eating.
Subhanallah.
There's a right way to do it, and there's a way where you can get the most benefit from something that you're going to do anyway. So why don't you do it the correct way and gain barakah also. I wanted to mention also that dropping the food, this is also something that happens very frequently, and some people, they shy away from doing this, and that even at the Prophet ﷺ's time, he's mentioning it, and it's not like dirt back there it's the same as dirt back here. It's the same.
Just pick it up and clean it and eat it, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back with our etiquettes of eating and drinking. Please stay tuned to the Excellence of Manners. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Fortunate is he who remembers Allah abundantly.
Hopefully we'll discuss some tips on how to increase the ability of getting the dua or the supplication answered.
Allah delays giving you what you want and gives you a reward that is equal to that or better in this life or in the world to come, forgiving your sins and giving you good deeds.
I'm going to look at some questions that we've asked some of our brothers on the street. We asked them, should Muslims have a dialogue with other religions?
We're going to need some stability.
So it doesn't matter where we live, we need to care for those ones, to give them the rights that Allah gives.
This life is not the eternal life. It is a test.
Particularly for the youth of today. So if there are any parents or uncles or whoever is watching, if you have 16, 17, 18, 20-year-olds with you, make sure they stop doing whatever they're doing and come in and watch this show, inshallah.
Fortunate is he who remembers Allah abundantly.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our program, The Excellence of Manners. Before the break, we were discussing some etiquettes of eating. And we're discussing this with our dear guest, Sheikh Saeed. Sheikh Saeed, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياك الله سيد محمد.
Allah hayk.
Allah bless you.
Jazakumullah khair. We were discussing some of the etiquettes when you eat in a group of people and the barakah that comes to you while you're eating, and some of these etiquettes that you're supposed to share as much as possible when you're eating. Don't eat alone.
That's right.
And if you something falls from you, pick it up, clean it, and eat it. And the barakah is mentioned in that, because we don't know where the barakah is. And also when you're eating from a plate of food, try to eat from the sides and closest to you and the sides. And also I wanted to mention that it's true that also a basic rule in Islam is not to waste anything. So don't leave anything behind. Don't leave half of your food and then throw it away, because this is definitely a no-no.
And also, if you eat together, you won't leave anything, because you eat it together, isn't it? But if you take something for yourself only, you might end up leaving something.
Exactly. So this is one of the other things, that if you get a big plate by yourself and you're eating by yourself, you're more likely to leave something behind, and it's going to be wasted as opposed to somebody else having the benefit. Another etiquette that we want to focus on is the position of eating. We said that you eat with your right hand, but what about the position of sitting? Can we sit or lean back and recline? Are there etiquettes of positions?
The main thing, don't eat while you are reclining, or while you are leaning on something, on the wall or on your hand. Eat. The sunnah is to eat while you're, as Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, one of the ulama said, one of the scholars said, that you should eat while your right knee is erected and your left knee is bent down. So you bend down your left knee and you erect your right knee. This is sunnah, how to eat. Imam Baghdadi said as well that you are allowed to put a mattress beneath you if you want. You can put a mattress, but don't lean on the wall or lean on a pillow while you are eating.
So you basically sit up.
Sit up,
like your back is straight.
Hadith says, sallallahu لا أكل متكئ, I don't eat at all while I'm reclining on something or while I'm leaning on something.
Now this is talking about food, and how about when we drink? Are there etiquettes when we're drinking?
There are many etiquettes, but the most important etiquettes is while you're drinking, make sure that you don't drink at one gulp or at one go or one take. Drink in 3 takes or 2 takes. Take your time when you drink. In 3 gulps. And Nabi ﷺ said, don't drink like the camel drinks. The camel drinks in one go, in one gulp. But drink in 2 or 3. 2 gulps or 3 gulps or 3 takes or 2 takes. So once you drink in 2 or 3 gulps.
And this is the practice of the Prophet ﷺ, that he drank in...
He used to drink like this. He used to drink in 3 or 2 gulps.
Jazakumullah khair.
And also from the etiquettes of drinking is that you begin with Bismillah and finish with Alhamdulillah as well. Same thing like food.
The same thing with
same with food. And also furthermore, from the etiquettes of drinking, don't breathe on the water or on the vessel when you drink. Make sure you don't breathe on it. Rasulullah said don't breathe on the vessel.
And that usually happens when you have kind of like a cup, and you're not taking the cup away from your mouth,
right.
So you're breathing into it. So you're just breathing while you're drinking, and is this what you're talking about?
Yeah. You shouldn't breathe in the cup, but just take your time, remove it away, breathe, then drink again.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. We had discussed already that what we should do when we are together, and if somebody invites you and we're eating together. How about the serving? If you're hosting people, what is the etiquette of serving them food? Who should you serve first?
May Allah bless you. Jazakallah. Very important question. You should serve the people who are on the right. Regardless of their age, regardless of their status, you should serve the people who are on your right side. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on one occasion, he was with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, his close friend. And Abu Bakr was on his left hand side. And another Bedouin man was on his right hand side. So Rasulullah was given a cup of milk and a vessel of milk. He was drinking the milk. Once he finished, he gave it to the man who is in his right hand side, the Bedouin man. Although Abu Bakr is closer to him, Abu Bakr is his close friend. He gave it to the Bedouin man. And he said, Al-Ayman fal-Ayman. Once if you have any food, you should give it to the person who's in your right hand side. On your right hand side. So this is the sunnah. You give to the person who's on the right hand side. Another hadith, Nabi Sallallahu was in an assembly, and on his right was a young man, a boy, Ibn Abbas. And on his left hand side was all of the Sahaba, the elderly Sahaba, like Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, all the Sahaba. So Rasulullah was given as well a vessel of drink, and he drank from the vessel, and then he said to Ibn Abbas, would you allow me to give it to the elderly people? He said, no, I don't leave your preference to any your preference. I don't leave it to I don't leave anyone to take what you've given me as a preference. So Ibn Abbas said, I would like to take it, and he took it and he drank from the vessel before the Sahaba. So you should give it to the person who's on your right hand side, although or regardless of his age, regardless of his status. Begin with the right, inshallah. This is sunnah.
SubhanAllah, this is a good sunnah to learn, because it might be logical to give somebody that is older than younger, especially if you're invited somebody important, and then you have somebody that's younger who is not as important, for example. But this kind of rule from the right is the practice of the Prophet ﷺ.
It helps so much. Imagine if you are in an assembly and you don't know their ages. Someone is older than the other one. You will get confused. Or if you don't know their status, if you begin with this man, then you will confuse yourself, and you probably put yourself in a very
awkward position. Yeah. So it's a good rule to have just
begin from the right.
From the right.
Yeah, everyone will understand. Naam, inshallah ta'ala. And it's in Sahih Bukhari, in both narrations.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. I know we had just spoken about drinking. If we can just come back to it for a second.
Inshallah.
What about drinking from a bottle, not from a cup? What are there any etiquettes when you're drinking from a bottle?
May Allah bless you, Jazakallah khair. The main thing, don't drink from the mouth of the bottle. The bottle. Don't drink from the mouth of the bottle. Make sure you drink, you use a cup and drink from the cup.
So this is the etiquette.
That's the main etiquette, yeah. Rasulullah said, don't eat.
Drink from the bottle. Yeah. You need to pour it into a glass.
That's right. That's the main thing.
What about drinking or eating while walking or standing? You had mentioned that our back should be straight. What if situations
if you are
walking or standing, eating or drinking?
Well, the ulama have different opinions about this. However, they all agree that you should eat while you are sitting down, and you should drink while you are sitting down. But some ulama said that you are allowed to drink while you are standing up. And they brought many hadith. One of them is hadith Ali radiallahu anhu, when he said that Rasulullah, when he drank while he was standing up, and he said that I saw him doing so, drinking while he was standing up. And he ﷺ as well in the sound hadith, he drank while he was standing up at the time of Hajj. They brought to him a drink of milk, and he drank the milk. And he drank from Zamzam as well while he was standing up. But the ulama said because he did this because he was in a hurry. He didn't have time to sit down. He was in need to drink quickly and move. Therefore, if you are in a hurry, you can probably drink. This is how we can bring all the hadith together, all the evidences together. We can say if you are in a hurry to drink, you can probably drink while standing up. But otherwise, you should sit down and drink while sitting down.
Okay, so the
concerning
rule is
the food,
to eat.
make sure you eat while you're sitting down. Don't eat while you are walking. Because we have in the hadith as well, Anas radiallahu anhu said, don't drink while you are standing up. They asked about food. He said the food is worse. Is more evil to eat while you are walking or while you are standing up. However, some Sahaba used to eat while they were standing up and walking. Therefore, we would say it's preferable to sit down and eat, and preferable to sit down and drink.
Okay.
It is from the Sunnah. But if there is a need that you need to eat, you need to drink while you are standing, then you can do so, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, so the recommendation is to sit
down and drink while sitting down.
And if we say standing, we also mean walking as well.
Yeah, you mean walking.
So walking, you should not eat or
you shouldn't
drink
eat, yeah, unless there's
something.
There's a reason, yeah.
And we also have...
This is the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, opinion of Shawkani, opinion of As-San'ani in Subul Salam. Most of the ulama, many ulama has this opinion that it is recommended to sit down, and it is allowed in the time of necessity to drink while standing up. Inshallah.
And it's also, it makes sense that you're in a relaxed position when you are eating, and it's kind of a process that you need to take gradually.
That's right.
And even with the one gulp rule, because it's something that you should do slowly, and you should not hurry up and
That's
eat.
Right. And there is hadith as well that says, if you drink while standing up, then vomit. And in Sahih Muslim, if you drank a water and you are standing up, then vomit the water. And that shows that you should sit down. You should sit down.
Jazakumullah
bless you.
What about when the time of eating and drinking, especially eating, because you get hungry, for example, depending on how or what time you work, maybe right when Asr prayer is called. What should you do when there's time for prayer and food and prayer are involved in the same time? That situation. What should you do in a situation?
Very good question. Jazakallah khair. If you are starving, very hungry, and the food is there ready, and the prayer is called or the adhan is called, then you should eat first. If you are not starving, you should go and pray first. And also, generally, if you are eating, don't eat so much. Eat that which is enough for you. Eat a third of your stomach, and leave a third for the water and a third for your breathing. And this is sunnah in general. You shouldn't eat so much. If you eat so much, that will cause your heart to be, we call it qaswa in Arabic, meaning that it will become not soft. It will not. If you ask yourself in Ramadan, for example, if you eat so much and you go to the Taraweeh, you go to the prayer, you won't feel that you are comfortable. You will feel that you are busy, you are heedless, isn't it? You won't be able to focus on the Salah, on the Quran. So eat that which is enough for you, and then you should go to the prayer, inshallah ta'ala.
Subhanallah, and it's medically, sound that if you eat so much, you become so tired because the blood is rushing to your stomach to digest the food, and it's not healthy.
Right. You won't be able
your
to
body
focus.
doesn't, your stomach can't digest that much, and it takes a long time. So it really affects our focus.
That's right.
Even if we're not praying, and then when we're praying, which we should have the most focus, it affects our focus, and we've all experienced it at some point or another. We ate a lot, so it's a good rule to have, not to eat a lot, and only if you're starving should you eat
something before you go to Salah.
Going to Salah.
And also we have in the hadith, مَا مَلْأَ ابْنُ آدَمْ وِعَاءً شَرًّا مِنْ بَطْنِهِ. There is nothing that you have filled. There is nothing that you can fill worse than your stomach. So make sure that you don't eat so much.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh. I know there's more to it, but alhamdulillah, we've covered the basics. Jazakumullah khair for watching the Excellence of Manners, and I'd like to thank again Shaykh Saeed for everything he said. Jazakumullah khair. Join us again next time on the Excellence of Manners. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Fortunate is he who remembers Allah abundantly, worldly distractions cannot mildly sway his thoughts of Allah and Judgment Day. Righteous is he who bows to one he cannot see, whose deeds do not spring without Bismillah, fulfilling his task with perfect taqwa.